So he's Chris Sawyer, Sommelier to the stars.
And she is Pamela Busch, superstar wine writer, superstar personality, and lover of Vouvray.
And we are the stars of the next James Bond wine movie. But actually we are here today to discuss Vouvray, which in itself is very much of a superstar.
It is.
Yeah.
This is a region that is just below Paris. It's take about an hour, hour and a half to get there from Paris. It is heading towards the Atlantic Ocean, and it's best known for Chenin Blanc. That is the main grape grown in this region. It's a beautiful area to go visit, but the reason we're here tasting these wines is because we're obsessed with these kinds of white wines that are made in this area. The main reason for that is this is a region and an appellation that's all about terroir. It's all about the soil, the clay and limestone soils with a little bit of silica. And because of that, these vineyards have been growing there since the 14th century, making amazing wines that don't just taste great when they're young, but also very age-worthy.
Well, especially a wine like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, the thing with Vouvray is it has this incredible terroir, but it's also how Chenin Blanc manifests itself.
Yeah.
And it just creates, you have just the marriage of this incredible grape and this incredible soil, and just together, it makes a world-class wine.
Yep. Right now, we're tasting the new Francois Pignon. This is a 2005 vintage, which was a great vintage in Vouvray. This is Cuvée Botrytis, and Botrytis is noble rot. It's the kind that happens only in the greatest of vintages.
Right, and it doesn't look very noble.
No.
It's not a very attractive thing on the vine, but it does something absolutely beautiful to the wines.
Yeah, and one of the reasons it doesn't happen that often there is because during the summertime it's great weather there, the grapes are ripening, but once it becomes fall and into late September, the temperature starts to drop. What you need for good botrytis is a lot of humidity and a little bit of rain to start it, to trigger it. And sometimes you just can't pick it in time and the grapes go rotten too fast. So
yeah, I mean, there are actually, it's almost rare to have a wine like this. There are fewer vintages when you have the conditions to make this type of wine than not.
Yeah, and in addition to Cuvée Botrytis, the more common term is Milieu. It's really what the dessert wine is called there. In most cases, you'll even see it sometimes on the bottles here in America. But Francois Pignon, very famous winery, wasn't really well known for a while there. Maybe we can tell a little bit of that story.
Well, Francois Pignon, his family had vineyards and was making wine. He's still using the family land, but he went off on his own and decided I guess he was teaching, and then he became a child psychologist. So you might think, okay, vines, child psychology, maybe there's some sort of connection there, but
he left the fold.
Yeah, he did. He left the fold. But in 1987, his father retired, and he basically came back home. And since then has slowly made changes. And I guess the most dramatic change he started to make was in around the millennium. Was he started to convert to organic viticulture. And as biodynamics, organic viticulture, and the natural wine movement really started to take hold in the Loire Valley, he became more and more interested. And I believe he became certified organic, I think, in 2010. And he's not just organic, but really is a pretty strict adherent to making his wine without intervention, using all natural yeast. Minimal sulfur is added, and I have tasted these wines over the years, and I feel like a few years ago they really started to hit their stride. They weren't bad, but they seem to be getting better and better and better.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing. Wild yeast, it's not like here in California where we're getting you were buying yeast. This area is very well known for just using wild yeast. It starts there. It's in the caves. It's everywhere. These are old troglodyte caves in many cases that it just kind of it floats around in there, and it's always been there. So they're really picking up on this. Let's start to taste this one too.
Ina has a question. Is this classified as milieu or a doux? It's actually classified. It would be a doux.
This would be a doux.
Yeah, with the level of RS that's in it.
Yep.
It would be a doux.
Yeah, we don't have the exact level of RS, but it's pretty high.
Yeah, it's over 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one important point too, this is only 10.5% alcohol.
Yeah.
So, and it's got acid, and it's got these layers of residual sugar and tons of flavor.
This flavor. This one can go on and on and on. Another thing too, if anyone out there has a child or knows someone who has a child who was born in 2005, this would be a great present to give this kid when this person becomes an adult, because this wine is going to, this could be a 50-year ager.
Yeah.
I would safely give it 40 years.
Yeah.
So.
Jason's wine blog says, seems Loire Valley Wines has a few new enthusiasts, me amongst them. Looking forward to further exploring.
Well, here to you, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're already converts.
Yeah.
We love the place. We would have houses there if we could. We would live in those troglodyte caves.
Yeah, but not necessarily together.
No. But we would party together.
We would. We could be neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want my own kitchen.
Yeah. Food Writer writes, would dig some creamy blue cheese with this Furrow. Okay, that's a little bit late.
Bounce out the sweetness.
But,
but I totally agree.
But I agree. I would even try blue cheese in creamy style with this.
Yeah, I had some Blue d'Auvergne with it the other night, which is not really that creamy, but it was really, really good. And and foie gras, which...
Eno Bites says, Vouvray and foie gras. What do you think? Of course. I mean, think about this one in particular. Salty, which is foie gras, and then this with the sweetness, kind of offsetting each other. Yeah. It's a perfect combination, and it really does work.
Yeah.
A lot of the pork dishes in the area too, really. Pork gruyere is another one that you'll find a lot. I wouldn't do pork gruyere with this, but some of the other wines in the region, definitely the sect and demi-sect are much better. But this is a great style just for
to me this is almost like it's a way to end an evening.
Yep.
I wouldn't necessarily need any food with it, and just a small piece of cheese and maybe a few nuts. Yeah. Like some, like sea salted walnuts. I'd be very happy. But if you were going to go with the dessert, what do you think?
I think it's baked apple pie with me. I think a little bit more of a golden delicious, not a green. But something with that smoothness, a little bit more silky kind of flavors, really good.
What about
Art Predator?
Here's one for you. How about apple pie and cheddar cheese?
I would.
It's
be
very
interesting.
American.
I'd
but
be very into that.
The salt from the cheese could be great with it.
Yeah, I agree. Art Predator, tangerine lifesaver, or cream soda, or maybe both. I don't know. But
I'm always going to go with cream soda because I love cream soda.
Yeah, definitely. It does have a little bit of the ginger spice. Some of these other wines have had that too that we've been tasting here at La Boutique in San Francisco. It's just, this is a wine that really is the end of the party where you're just sharing this because, they come in these smaller bottles, but you could just do this with a cheese course for dessert, and that's
you don't need
just
very
a
much
genius
of it.
thing.
It isn't like having, let's say, a port or some other dessert wines that have 15 plus alcohol, where you really just can, like an ounce, at least for me, is enough.
Yeah.
I could do a little bit more because this doesn't have that much alcohol.
Right.
But again, you could open this up for 2 and stick it in the fridge, and it's going to be fine 3 weeks later.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a tawny port. But it
doesn't have the oxidized quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just got so much density to it is really what it's about.
Yeah.
Art Predator said, how about white raisins? Well, I'd put some white raisins on the plate with that cheese, some nuts.
Yep.
And this kind of does have a little bit of a nutty characteristic, not too much. There's a lot of fruit in here. It's got that kind of peachness to it too, but just some great flavors and so much depth.
Yeah. No, and it seems just from getting some of the comments, for that, I guess anyone who doesn't like it is kind enough not to write in, because we've been getting nothing but shouts of glory coming over, from the blogosphere here.
Yeah.
Let's see, this is a great one. My vine spot, Loire Valley in general, is a wonderful wine region to explore from Anjou to Vouvray and everything in between.
Yeah.
So
I think this is you can't get enough of Loire Valley in general. But
Yeah.
I think that really just, your experience, you've gone to Vouvray a few times, and I mean, what are your impressions of Vouvray? What are like the top things that you think of? I say Vouvray to you, besides the wine, what are some of the other things that you think of?
Oh, I think elegance, I think mineral, I think finesse, I think precision.
Yep.
And people I really like. I don't know. But if I'm going to talk about the actual quality, I mean, definitely the precision, the mineral, the finesse, the elegance, and at the same time, ageability.
Yeah. I think for me, my 5 words about Vouvray would be purity, just in a lot of different ways, because all these guys are moving towards the natural movement.
Right, or most of them, but yeah.
Tanginess, that's kind of in reference to more of the acid base. Elegance, depth, and sight. It's all about the site. Each one of these vineyards is so special, and they have such a deep history there. You can see it not only in the vineyards, but the churches, the amazing castles, all of the things that surround this little area of Vouvray, which became a certified appellation in 1936. But it's just got a charm to it that is priceless.
Yep.
Legitimately.
Yeah. It does, and especially as you said earlier, you can. It's not very far from Paris. It's an hour and a half by train.
Yeah.
And driving, it really depends on how you drive. But I would say take the train.
I would say take the train too.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So today we're really going to be tasting a few more wines here. We've had a great time, and for those of you that want to follow what we've been tasting here and to follow and to learn more about Loire Valley, please look up loirevalleywines.com. And from Pamela, me, and Taste Live, we're just happy that you were part of this experience with us. And like I said, for the holiday times, great investments here to really invest in a great bottle of Vouvray. Share it with people. Share it with people over the holidays. Buy a case for yourself. Put some away.
Right.
Drink it later, but just keep enjoying Vouvray.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say a big thanks out to all the bloggers, to La Boutique, which is where we are sitting right now, Smiling Tiger Video, Chef Jason Mankebo, Creative Furnace, and TasteLive.com. So it takes a village, so to speak, to put all this little thing together. And we've had a really great time today. And as good as the wines were, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everyone else who helped out.
That's right.
Yep. And also, Chris, thank you.
Thank you,
it's been
Pamela.
a pleasure to spend the day drinking Vouvray with you.
Yeah, I'd do it anytime. Cheers.
Cheers.